We just have a few slides, and then we're going to get into the actual product. So the first question is, what is an organization? So if you look around, a lot of companies look the same. They may be in your same industry or not, but have you ever wondered why is one company more successful than another? Why is one growing and another one isn't? Well, the answer to that is it's people. So what we've learned over the years is that your most important asset in your business is your people. And hiring good people, retaining good people, making sure that you are tracking them properly is all a part of that HR function with the organization. So as I said, an employee or a company is only as good as its employees, and we need to invest in employees and to retain them in our businesses. And how we treat those employees is also important to maintain the employees in our businesses as well. So investment is a cost that creates future value and pays out over time. So you are really investing in your employees when you hire them. So we call that return on employee investment. So human capital, why should we care? Your employees make a difference, and how you manage them makes a difference. So with that, what we've seen a lot of companies do is manage employee information via spreadsheets. And it always amazes me when we go into some companies that have hundreds of employees, if not 1,000 employees, and they're managing that all on a spreadsheet. So that really doesn't work, especially in today's times with the all the Affordable Care Act and all of that. So it disadvantages of Excel spreadsheets. There's no reporting. There's lack of security, unreliable and inaccurate most of the time, and there's no single point of truth. So that, to me, that single point of truth makes a big difference in your capturing the information for your employees. And we'll talk about that more in a minute when I get into the software. So employee turnover needs to be down, and if employee turnover is down, your productivity and customer retention is high. And we've seen that firsthand, I believe, with a lot of our customers. I was visiting a customer several weeks ago, and they have 50 employees, let's say 50, rounded to 50, and last year they had a 50% turnover in their employees. So, when we looked at it, we said, that's yeah, maybe you hired incorrectly, but I think a lot of that is employee retention and management and how you deal with those employees once you get them on board and how to keep them happy. So, again, employee turnover low, productivity, customer retention high, only means dollars for the company. So in a survey by Bloomberg, the HR priorities in 2013, the highest one, and I don't know how well you all can see this slide, but it's 84%, was attracting and retaining qualified employees. So that was the highest HR priority in 2013. And I'm going to bet when 2014 comes out, it's probably right up there as well. The second one everybody's going to understand is controlling health benefit costs. So that was 81%. So that's a big concern of HR professionals at this point. So getting the right talent and keeping the right talent is utmost important. So, everybody hears about, it's when you have employee turnover, it costs the company more than if you just kept them and, maybe do some training and that type of thing. So here's estimates for low-end employees. The turnover cost is 30 to 50% of their annual salary. So for every employee that's turned over, their salary, 30 to 50% of that is what it really costs the company. And in mid-level, it's 150%, and it's specialized in high level, it's 400%, which is just amazing to me. But apparently they've done a lot of surveys and things about that. So here's some cost calculation on employee turnover. Number of employees, 300, upper management, middle management, and the rest of the employees. And what it would cost, so their average salary, and then over on the right, what it would cost to replace them. So the turnover, if your turnover rate is higher, it's going to obviously cost you more when you do those replacements. And the thing that we've seen in the past couple of years is that it's hard to find employees. It's hard to find good employees for sure, and it's hard to find employees just in general, which is interesting as well. So 18.7% is the U.S. average of employee turnover, and best-of-breed companies, it's only 5%. So if you are a highly functioning best-of-breed company, then you might have 5% turnover, and instead of the U.S. average, which is 18.7%. So this leads me to the actual software, Sage HRMS, and we offer a comprehensive solution. So Sage HRMS has payroll management. We have recruiting and onboarding, which interfaces to the HR applications in payroll. Risk mitigation and compliance, I'll talk about that in a few minutes too. Time and attendance, so your time and attendance can be in different forms, either internet-based or biometric-based, however you want to do that. Employee benefit management, paperless HR, talent management, and then decision support. So we have a lot of pieces that interface with the HR program that you can facilitate. Today we're going to talk about just the HR piece of it, but we'll be sending out information about these other pieces for other webinars. So Sage HRMS is created by and for HR professionals. It's task and process oriented. It's fully customizable. It allows for employee self-service and can be extended with payroll processing as well. So Sage added on a new company that actually does payroll processing and interfaces with Sage HR. So if you wanted to have that direct interface with the HR program from your payroll processing, you could do that as well. So you have many choices. So what I'm going to show you is why Sage HRMS is the best choice. So with that, I am going to go into the software. And again, this is an overview of Sage HRMS. And we're going to look at, though there are many components to it, we're going to look at the HR and the time off components today. And then on other webinars, we'll look at other pieces of it. So what you're seeing here is the main screen of Sage HRMS. So you'll notice there's quite a few things on here. So I can do a what's new, so what's new in the latest version. There's a help, so there's online help files as well. And then PDF guides. And the PDF guides will tell you what's new in each of the versions, and then also will give you information about the reports and the different modules and things like that. So the combination of that, PDF guides and the help, are really good to help you within the software. And then you can also directly from here contact Sage. So with Sage software, you get direct contact with Sage as well as with your support people as well, which would be us. And so we can do either way. You can contact training at Sage, and you can also give them product feedback, which I really liked it when they added that to the menu, because a lot of times people would say to us, our customers would say, well, we wish it would do this or we wish it would do that, and we submit those, but this way you as the user can submit that feedback to Sage. And then you can also do a live chat from within this screen. So this is just the opening dashboard of the product. So and then you'll notice on the left you have different functions here, and I have employees and I have time off, so that gives me different functions here as well. I have payroll, training. There is a training component to it. So if you do training classes or do a lot of training for your employees, this is a really good module to keep track of the courses and what the employee what courses they've taken and what courses they're required to take. Very good module. And then reports, so we're going to delve into some of these reports today as well. And then the setup. So you have different setup options for each of the different areas of the software. So I just wanted to show you this screen. So there's a lot of different things that can be set up, and that's what makes the system flexible. And that's part of what our job is to help you to get that set up and make sure that you make the right choices on the codes and things to get you the information that you need. So we would guide you through the setup processes. So I'm going to go back to employees. And, oh, the other thing, I'm sorry, I apologize. I omitted system. And the one thing that I wanted to tell you about that is about the security that's in the system, because that's something that people always ask is, what does the security look like within ABRA? And it's multi-layered, so it's role-based, and then an employee is attached to that role. So if I'm a supervisor, for example, I may have access to everything in the system, but someone who is maybe an HR assistant might not have access to everything in the system. So it's role-based in that way, per module, per portion of the module. So it's very well constructed on the security of the system. So I'm going to go back to this on the employees, and I tend to like to navigate across the top bar. So you'll see that I will navigate on the top bar, but you can also navigate here on this left-hand side. It's the same thing, same features, same options and things. It's just a preference. So up at the top, the first option I have up there is Actions. And you'll notice that I click on it, I'm going to go to HR, and here are my options there for actions. So actions are anything that you would do with an individual employee. So record a new hire, rehire employee, assign leave of absence, job promotion, that type of thing. So each of these options steps you through a wizard to set them up. So if I recorded a new hire, it would step me through the different options or the different questions and things that I need to record a new hire. So under actions, that's where everything is that is employee specific. So each of these modules, that's employee specific. The next option on there is processes. So processes are for multiple employees. So doing mass updates, for example. One of the first ones on here at the very top is update benefits. So I'm going to show you in a few minutes the benefit plans, and this option here for update benefits would allow you to go in whenever your benefits are changed. So let's say I got new health insurance amounts that I needed to update to every employee. So I would just come in here, I would change it on the benefit table, and then come in here and say update benefits, and it's going to spread it out to all the employees that have those different benefits. So these processes are for mass updating information in the system. And the next option I have on here is analysis. So this is kind of interesting because it you can run it as a report, but it's more of a sort of a dashboard to let you see different criteria in the system. So I have OSHA instance and performance versus longevity, salary, turnover. So I have different analysis things in there. So if I wanted to look at OSHA instance, I can say to and from, what dates did I want to look at, and I can say what employees do I want to look at. Maybe I only want to look at a certain division or a certain department. I can also show details on here, so I can see down to the employee level on this dashboard all the OSHA instances at whatever level I'm choosing here. So it's again, you can get this in a report, but this is nice to have it on a dashboard, on an analysis. Just makes it real easy. So there's a couple of those analyses here again, and then under attendance, there's some analysis, absences by days and absences by hour. So it gathers all this information for you and puts it into the analysis. Then my next option is reports, and I'm going to come back to this in just a minute because there's several reports on here that I'd like for you all to see. And then also rules. So this is where I was showing you earlier on the setup. So your rules are where we would help you set up the system and create the rules. So like benefits, for example, if you said we have health insurance, we have life insurance, we have dental insurance, and maybe even on the health insurance, you might have 3 different types of health insurance, 3 different plans, 3 different plans on dental, you know, that type of thing. So we would help you to set up those benefits under the rules. So, and all the different codes on here. And a lot of these already have the codes there. So OSHA, for example, there are codes. When we look at the OSHA screens, I'll show you that are already in the system. So like your body part codes that you put on OSHA, they are already in the system. You don't have to add those. So it's not like you have to add everything. FMLA events, those are already in there. You can add to them, but the standard ones are in there for you to use, which is nice. So you don't have to worry about what are my standard items that I need. The next option on here is details, and this is where I'm going to spend a little bit of time because this is where I can get granular into the employees and look at their data. So if I go under demographics, oops, sorry, my mouse got crazy. And here here's my list of my employees down here at the bottom. And I can search for an employee here in different ways, so last name, first name, social security number. I also have more options here. So I can look, if I want to look at employees just in a certain division or department or location, I can do that as well. There are 5 layers of options that you can have here for ABRA. So this demo company happens to have division, department, location, and then not any other 2. But this can be user defined for you. So you might not have divisions. You might have departments and locations, or you know, some other type of way that you want to segregate the employees when you look at them on a reporting basis. So I'm going to choose Veronica Bell. She's my VP of HR. So I've chosen Veronica, and this is her basic information, name, address, street, all that. Some personal information is here as well. So birth date, marital status, and all of that. So I want to go back to, because some of you may be looking at the screen saying, oh my goodness, you know, her social security number's on there, her birth date's on there, there's information on here that really is should not be seen by all eyes. So I want to go back to this again and go back to the security and say that in the security, let's say I want someone to have access to a lot of these things on employee records, but I don't want them to see that social security number. In the security, that's an option that you can say that this social security number would be masked, as well as their birth date and age, a couple other things that are sensitive information that you wouldn't want just everybody to see. So, so don't be concerned that information is on the screen, because it can be masked for certain people that need to be not be able to see that information. So there's Veronica Bell. So you can actually put her photo in here as well. So that's real easy. You just have the photo, and I do a select, choose where it is, and it pops in here. So that's really nice if you have a lot of employees and you think, oh no, I know her, but I don't remember what she looks like. That'd be nice to attach those pictures on there. So I'm going to go across the top. So my navigation is I'm on demographics, and if I go to HR status, then it tells me a little bit more about Veronica. So her original hire date, her last hire date, it calculates her seniority here. It's grayed out, 15 years and 8 months, so it does that calculation. A little bit information, employment eligibility. You can fill this information in, military, and then there's some user-defined fields. So you'll see these 4 on here on mine, but again, you can have 4 user-defined fields of things that you want to keep track of for your employees. So that's totally up to you how you want to work with that. So that's HR status, and again up here at the top. Termination, so if I were going to terminate Veronica, I could come to this screen and do my termination here, eligible for rehire, yes or no, some notes about her, whether she's eligible for COBRA, and then a forwarding address for information to go to her. Also at the top, I can do leave of absence. So if Veronica took a leave of absence for some reason, I can record it here. And you'll see on these screens, I can record this information directly onto Veronica's file from here. So down at the bottom, I have this button that says Add. So anytime you see that button, that means I can add something onto the screen, or I can make changes to it. So this is her leave of absence, so it fills in the date, start date, scheduled return. So it steps me through that information. So her leave reason is FMLA. So, and then my leave type. Then you'll notice another tab here that says FMLA event. So I can say, what's the reason? And again, these reasons are in the system for you. So it's not something that we added, it's in the system. But you can add other codes. So you're not bound to just having this code, these codes for her. Let's say no. And then moving across the top again, I had events. So let's say Valerie got some certifications. She got some CPR certifications. I can record that information. And then also I can say, when is that next due? So for her CPR or CPP, then it would say what next due. And there's a module that you can purchase also with ABRA, and it's an alerts module. And what's really nice about that module is if I set up an alert and I said, I want to know everybody that at the beginning of the month who is going to be has come up for being recertified on anything. It can be anything. It can be nursing certification, doctor certification, CPR. It can be anything that you want, and it will send you an email and say these people are up for certification this month, and this is what the certification is. So that alerts module is something that monitors anything that you want in the system. It can be birth dates, it can be hire dates, it can be when are they going to return from FMLA dates. So that module is really good for monitoring that data. You can also get that data obviously with reports and things, but the alerts just makes it more proactive. Then I can also have employee notes. So any kind of notes about the employee with follow-up dates, I can do that as well. And you can put the author in there. So if I'm the one that's putting information about Veronica in there, I can do that. And then employee attachments. So I can attach anything that I want to her record. So if I want to attach her resume, or if I want to attach her W-4 information, I-9 information, any kind of information, I can do that here with this employee attachment. And then also I have emergency contacts. So for each person we have 2 different emergency contacts. So there's your first contact and your second contact. So everyone has 2 emergency contacts on there. Then again, I'm going to go up to the top. So we're on the part that says personal, and I'm going to go to job and pay. So again, I'm still on Veronica, and I can see her current pay. So this is her, when it's effective, pay rates, and all that information. So remember, with security, I can secure people out of seeing this as well. So they can maybe see some other things about Veronica, but maybe not this piece of it. And then pay and performance. So I can put in when her review is due, that type of thing. What's her rating, and what's the reason that we gave her a raise. User-defined, so there's 4 user-defined fields there as well. And then if you did a step rating, you can do that as well here. And then again, her current job, so up at the top, her current job, she's a VP of Human Resources, and it brings in, according to her job code, what her EEO job group is. So it fills in, I don't know if you all can see this very well, but all of this is grayed out because it's filled in by this job code. And is she active, regular, salaried, you know, that type of information. Then you have a tab for her organization. So where is she in the organization? What division is she in? What department is she in? What location? So here's my divisions that are there: corporate, engineering, finance. What department within there is she in? So she's in human resources. And then where's she located? So I can have multiple locations. So the main reasoning behind these organizational levels is for reporting purposes. So you can, when I show you reports, you'll see how we can sort reports by these different organizational levels. And then if she has a secondary job. And then also, this is the other thing that I really like about this program, is that it keeps the job history. So if I started here 20 years ago and I kind of moved up through the ranks and gotten raises and promotions and things, you're going to see that whole job history here. So as you can see, she started here in 2002, and she was manager of human resources. That was her salary, and then she's moved up, and now she's VP of human resources, and she's gotten a couple pay raises here. So I'm going to scroll over to the right, and you can see her ratings and a little bit more information. So that's nice because it keeps that history in there if you ever have to go back and look at an employee. And the last button on here is Mass 90 Payroll Setup. So I know we've got a few people on the call that use Mass 90 or Sage 100, and you can use Payroll within Mass 90, but then have HR, have ABRA HR, and the two things talk. So they talk back and forth. ABRA HR is always your point of truth, and so your employees are here, and then that information can flow back over into Mass 90. And I also want to point out, while I'm talking about that, is that we have some customers that outsource their payroll to ADP or a company like that, but then also use ABRA HR for their HR piece. So we can easily take that data out of HR and put it over into ADP or any other system for payroll reporting. So again, the HR piece is kind of the point of truth on all your employees. So that information can go back and forth. And then the third option on here for Veronica is benefits. So this is where I can set up insurance benefits, savings benefits, dependents and beneficiaries, and we can also set up wellness information. So I'm going to look at the insurance benefits, because this is really, when people tell me that they are managing their employees with a spreadsheet, I always say, how do you keep track of their benefits? How do you know what benefits they have? You know, and they always give me that look, and they say, well, you know, we go to the file cabinet. You know, we've got a file on this person, or maybe they've got multiple spreadsheets that has all this information. So again, this is one of the huge benefits of having a formalized HR system. So on here, Veronica has a lot of different benefits. So she has dental, she has HMO, life insurance, long-term disability, so vision. She has a lot of different things. I'm going to open up her HMO because I want to show you that. So this is set up in benefit plans. So again, going back to the setup of the system, and we help you all with this, is we would set up a benefit plan that has the different criteria based on it, and then you enroll your employees into that plan. So Veronica is enrolled in the HMO medical. So I'm going to go on the cost and coverage tab. And this fills in, you'll notice it's grayed out. Hopefully you all can see that well, but it's grayed out because those numbers come from that benefit plan that we set up. So for her, her monthly premium is $603, but she only contributes $130 to that. And then if she had dependents, you could see their premium here as well. And this is calculated per month. So when we go to reports, I'm going to show you a couple different things where this comes into play. One of them being that you can reconcile this information to your bill that you get from the insurance company. So a lot of people use this to reconcile to their bill they get from the insurance company. But again, this all comes in from the plan. And I have some user defines, and then covered dependents. So I can put in covered dependents for her, so whether it's her spouse, significant other, child, whatever her dependents are. And then they can also be in this coverage, this dependent premium coverage. And actually, one of the things that I want to point out, because this is an ACA thing, you have to keep track of, with the ACA, with the Affordable Care Act, you have to really keep track of the coverage, the employee coverage begins and ends and when they're eligible. Same thing for the covered dependents. So you'll see on the covered dependents that you have an effective date, expiration date, that type of thing. So that's very important when you start reporting for ACA, is to have that information in a system. So that's another reason why this has become really really popular, I guess, a formalized HR system. And then you can also keep track of savings benefits, so like 401k, so I can say how much Veronica puts in and how much the employer is going to match, so that information is there as well. And then dependents and beneficiaries. And then wellness, so I can keep track of Veronica's wellness on here also. So different information about blood type and things and conditions, physical exam, drug test. And again, remember, security-wise, I can secure people out of seeing this data if you wanted to. So, whoops, I jumped right out of her. And then the next tab is time off. So that's where you can record absence transactions. And again, if you had an interface with Payroll or with a time and attendance system, then you could this information could flow into the system and you wouldn't have to record it. You can record it here, but it could come in from other places. So you can see those transactions. And then here's a summary of her different plans. So they have an illness plan, a vacation plan, and you can see from here what's been accrued, what's been taken, and then what's still available. So again, that's here on the screen, but there's also reports and things that you can have to show you that information as well. And then the next tab is payroll, which we're not going to get into on this particular session. But then we have safety. So safety means OSHA. So I can record OSHA events, and then under the reports, there's OSHA reporting as well. So we'll look at that in a minute. But if I do an ad on this OSHA screen, it gives me a case and then a case number here. And I can tell it what is it. It's an injury description. Again, these are all populated in the system. We did not populate these. So you can add to them, but they are populated. So I'd fill in all the information, incident date, and all that information. Up here at the top, I can say where was the location, where did it happen, additional information, what was the incident, what happened, you know, what was she doing when it happened, what body parts. This is where I was telling you all that the body parts are already in the system, so all of these are already in there. So you could pick, you know, with her hand, that type of information. What was the treatment? Who's the physician? What happened? What was the treatment on it? And does it go under workers' comp? Is there a workers' comp claim number there? So all this information is gathered here. And what's interesting about it is that it keeps that information there so that I can go back and let's say Veronica kind of is a little clumsy, and you could go back here and see on her how many times she's had OSHA instances and things like that. So it keeps that whole record. It's not just the current one. This screen keeps the whole record of every instance that she has and all the information about it. So that's nice as well. And then under career, I can record people's skills, education, previous employer. So again, you could, if you said, you know, I really need somebody that has strong accounting skills, then you could look into your own database, look internally at your employees, and figure out who has the skill that you're looking for. So if you recorded that information, education, and the previous employer. And the last option on here is custom. So under custom details, you can create your own panels. So you can create your own, what we've been kind of looking at are panels. So you can create your own. This demo company has a company car, company property, and then verification. So I'm going to open up the one that says company car. And so these are all fields that were added onto this panel. And so they're all just user-defined fields. And I can say, what's her car tag number, car ID. So this would be if she had a company car, what does that look like? What have we given her? Or let's say it's a cell phone or it's a laptop or something like that. You can set these up and be able to track these by employee and be able to report on them as well. So again, it's just kind of up to your imagination what you want that to be. It can, it can be whatever you want to be. I've seen some people do some really creative things with these panels and be able to get some information out of the system that they would normally either have on paper files, maybe again on a spreadsheet, that type of thing. So there's some customization that can be done, easily be done to that, because we can help you with that. We can help you create those fields and add them to the screens. So it's very, very easy. And then the last option on here is query. So each module within ABRA has a ABRA secure query. So that just lets you do a query on the data. I'm sure we've all worked with programs that have had queries in them. The one that I think of most is like Access. Microsoft Access has a query. But it lets you query the data easily and be able to do reports on that data without having to be a report guru and be able to do that without being real proficient in reporting and writing your own reports. So that, and again, it's a wizard. It steps you through it, so it's very easy. So I'm going to go back to reports, and there's quite a few reports. I'm obviously not going to go through each one, but there are a couple of them that I want you to see. Of course, there's personal information reports, so people's birth dates, hire dates, that type of thing. The one that I want to look at is under benefit reports. So each of those categories has different reports underneath it. So for your benefits, I can see benefit coverage by employee, benefit enrollment by plan, so who is enrolled in what plan. So that HMO plan I looked at, who's enrolled in it. We're going to look at a benefit letter in just a second. Benefit premium totals by plan. So a lot of those would help you in reconciliation to your monthly statement from your insurance company. Then you have COBRA information on there as well, and then some insurance coverage details. So there's a lot of information. So any of these reports, I can choose them, and then up at the top I have standard criteria. So going back to what we were talking about earlier is I can say, well, I only want to run this for a certain division or certain department, certain location, or I can run it for a particular employee as well. Or I can have some custom criteria. So I can also customize what the report output will be. So it's very, very flexible. The one I wanted to look at and show you all is the benefit letter. So any of these reports I can print, I can preview, I can export, so I can actually send these out via email by doing an export. So here's a benefit letter, and sometimes I ask people, do you do benefit letters for their employees? And some people say, no, we never do. A lot of people say, yes, we do, but it's really hard to get this information because they have it in so many different places. So this benefit report is the culmination of a lot of things that we just looked at. So again, this is user defined, so I can, if I don't like the verbiage on here, I can change it. But what you see on here is all of Shannon Barnes, she's the first person that came up, all of her benefits, total coverage, employee annual premium, dependent premium total, and then their contribution. So you can see that the premium was $8,400, and she contributed $2,000 to that. So basically the company is giving her a $6,000, $5,500 benefit. Same thing down here, if you scroll down a little bit, it has 401k, that information here. then it gives you a little summary. It says your annual pay is this, you received these benefits, you paid this, we paid this. It resulted in a 5.72% in addition to your pay. So I think a lot of people don't realize, they think, oh, I've got my pay, but they don't realize the other things that are benefits really kind of add to that pay. You know, it's things that they're not paying. So the benefit letter just helps facilitate that at any point. So some people do this at the end of the year. They will put them in with people's W-2s. I've seen people do it at the mid-year point, or maybe when they're doing reviews for employees as well. So you can run this report at any time, and it will compile the data for those employees. So I just wanted you to see that because I thought that was that's a really good report. It's something that, like I said, a lot of people do it, but it's hard for them to do because they're gathering the data manually. And then there's some compensation reports. There's EEO reports as well. So here's all the listing, the standard EEO report, the head count reports, and then you have your VETS 100 reports down here at the bottom as well. And again, at the top, I have my standard criteria, and then on this one, I have some specific criteria because I can run it at an as-of date. So any of these reports, I can run it as of. So you'll have the different criteria. Again, any of those reports you can print, you can export, you can preview, whatever you want to do with them. And then also you have your OSHA report. So I started to, and I got out of it, but I started doing OSHA incident for one of the employees. So this is where you could go in and, for your OSHA, do some analysis on injuries, locations, maybe accidents by employee. So if you have one that's kind of accident prone, you could see that as well. And then all your OSHA logs are here as well. So these are in the correct format that OSHA requires. So my understanding is you could, and I had people who use that to send in with OSHA straight from the system. So you don't have to redo the report. And then we also have some leave reports. So if I had employees that were on FMLA, leave of absence, that type of thing, so I'd be able to see that information. So basically, anything, the more information you put into the system, the more you're going to get out of the reports. So again, one of the advantages of using a formalized system like this is that you're not having to gather and pull information from 20 different places just to get a report. We see that a lot. We see companies do that a lot, and so that just makes it easier. Then also on reports under the attendance, so I have attendance reports as well. So I can see that by employee, by department. So I have different options here too. So I can see absence by, let's say if I had an issue in one of my departments or one of my locations, you'd be able to see that, choose that criteria here and be able to see that information easily on these reports. So that information can go in. So Jody, I think we're about quarter till the hour, so I'd like to open it up to questions.